All right, so War 9, we have Apocalypse, White Magneto, and Cosmic Ghost Rider bans. So first, White Magneto ban. All right, so Null Boss, we've got Wiccan, Moleman, and Fury. Mangog, S99, Mr. Negative, Scorpion. Penny, you can go with Gallon or Hulkling or Venom Pool. Long Shot, kind of tough. Kitty Pride, still could go with Human Torch and Nova Flame. Mysterio, Human Torch without Nova Flame, and Sunspot. Probably also use Claire or CMM. Gore, Rintrah, or Tigra. Quicksilver, I would Ghost. Outside of that, you're kind of risking it with Rolk and Penny and just going double immune or anti-venom. Anti-venom would probably work. I don't know that Decelerate will do anything, though. And then Cersei, you've got Symbiote Supreme, Tigra, Rintrah. 1 through 3 on the way out, Annihilus, you've got Symbiote Supreme and Claire. Path 1 there, you could use Omega Sentinel or Nimrod for... No, don't use Nimrod. Omega Sentinel or one of your sick and tired champs like Null for Magneto. And then for Mr. Negative, you can go with either a strong Mr. Negative counter or any of the buff immune like S99 Mr. Negative himself. Not technically buff immune, Titania, any of those really. Path 2, Wong, S99 Titania, Ant-Man, and then for Aarkus, you can go with Symbiote Supreme and an Odin pre-fight. You could go with Claire and Odin pre-fight. And then Path 3, Silver Surfer, you've got... you can actually use Symbiote Supreme. Archangel is also an option, even Null. And then for Apocalypse, Nimrod or Omega Sentinel. All right, 4 through 6 on the way out. Killmonger, you've got Omega Red and Kitty Pryde on the way in. Kingpin, you've got Omega Red and Archangel. Could also use any of your buffet immune champs. So Gallon, Omega Sentinel, pretty much probably your only two that aren't science. Path 4, Shang-Chi for the whole thing, Fury if you want to risk it for the whole thing, Mole Man if you want to risk it for the whole thing. Path 5, Nova, you got Magneto and Tigra, and then for Mojo you've got Mr. Negative and Titania, and then Path 6, Omega Sentinel or Nimrod for Kitty Pryde or even War Machine, and then for Blade I would go either Warlock or War Machine as well. Would probably work pretty well. 7 through 9 on the way out, you've got Immortal Abomination, so use any of your Poison Immune, Nimrod, Overseer, Rolk. So plenty of options for that. You can also use Archangel. And then Terrax on the way in, you've got Havoc, you've got Hulkling. Those are probably your two better options. And then Immortal Abomination, you can also use Ghost. Path 7, Domino, you've got Nimrod, you've got Warlock, and then for Green Goblin, you can use Warlock, Archangel, or S99. And then Bishop, Path 8, Ghost, War Machine. There are a few options there for him. You could also use Archangel as well. And then Path 9 out here, Falcon for Thing. And then for Sasquatch, you could use Ghost or Nebula. 1 through 3 on the way in, King Groot, you can use Symbiote Supreme, Titania. Might get a little sketch with Omega Sentinel or Gallon, also Null. Middle minis, Mordo. You can probably use, or Human Torch, obviously, as probably a top with Nova Flame. Can also use Archangel for that. And then Hyperion, Symbiote Supreme could work. Same with probably Hood and just keeping Fate Seal up constantly. 1 through 3 on the way out, Mephisto, Warlock or S99. Path 1 there. Hulk, you can use Warlock or S99, and then for Man-Thing, S99 or Titania, or any of your buff immune, so Ant-Man as well. And then path 2, Maw, S99, Titania, Ant-Man, and then path 3, same 3 options, Ant-Man, Titania, Mr. Negative, Ant-Man for Chavez. Okay, and then 4 through 6 on the way out, Rintrah. It was a low sig, so you can use Mr. Negative, but high sig, I'm not too certain. Titania comes to mind, Human Torch and Nova Flame comes to mind, and just tanking special 3s. But that one could get interesting since it has a prowess buildup on it, especially if that Rintrah was max sig. Path 4, Korg, you've got Omega Red, you've got Havoc. Path 5 there, Hulkling, you've got Claire and Hood, and then for Fury, you've got Kitty Pryde and Omega Red. And then for path 6 here, for that Scorpion, you've got Archangel, you've got Nimrod, you've got Warlock, you've got plenty of options, poison immune-wise for him. 7 through 9 on the way out, Gallon, S99 again. You can also use Hood. Might be able to ghost it. And then path 7 there, Doom, I would probably ghost. Not too many outside of that would actually consider, besides Human Torch and Nova Flame. And then for Purgatory, Human Torch, could probably use Warlock as well if she has willpower. And then path 7, Sorcerer, Human Torch, S99, Titania, and then path 9, finally, Void. You've got Shang-Chi, you've got Ghost, and then for Weapon X, you've got Nimrod and Warlock. So that does it for defense. Let's take a look at attack. All right, so War 9 is against DSVG. Today I'm going to be taking in Odin, Claire, and Mr. Negative. I've got Path 5 in Section 1 and Path 2 in Section 2. Odin is just coming for pre-fights, even though he is rank 3. So it should be pretty short war for me. Just some niche fights. Best counters were in my roster, and I'm familiar with them. So Claire here against Hulkling, pretty routine now. Pretty much guaranteeing that I bring in Claire for war when we see him placed here. It's going to be a Mystic boost fight, switching immediately to Plagued at the start with a PS1 boost. And then as soon as we drop the Special 2, that'll boost us up to Special 3 with close to 20 charges. We're going to bait out the special attack that Hulkling has. Hopefully he throws it while the Fury is still on us. If not, we're going to have to parry in heavy one more time to knock him down and get the Fury back. And then throw Special 3, and you should be able to rinse and repeat that entire strategy. What I like to do after the Special 3 is wait for debuff immunity to fall, maybe even wait for the Ebb and Flow knockdown to return to Hulkling so that the Special 2 is what removes it, so that I can avoid as many blocked hits as possible. What you will notice from this time around is that Hulkling was very passive. He regened a lot of health between Special 3s, and there did not mean to parry the first time. Had to do a few Special 2 intercepts without taking any blocks, especially to avoid getting pushed to Special 3. There, that rotation ended up working out for us. But yeah, pretty routine. Just this AI this war was just not having it after Special 3s with throwing special attacks. He really wanted to throw his heavy as if I was blocking. So yeah, here he's being pretty passive. He won't throw it. Finally throws it here. That gives us our space to throw the Special 2. Now we're going to try and bait this Special 1 out. And again, he's just not really having it. Finally throws it. I thought for sure I might be out of range for that, so I was a little upset when I got hit. But one hit, not a big deal. Parry heavy just to get a few more charges. And then it should just take one more special 3 now that he's against his wall. Hopefully he's a little more liberal with his special attacks. There's the special 2 with Ebb and Flow returning. There's the knockdown. There's our 20 charges. Come on, Hulkling, just throw it. Thank you. And this special 3 should finish it. So pretty routine. It does rely on these boosts as far as speed goes. Don't know that it would work as well. You'd be waiting for Mystic Dispersion a lot between special 3 attacks. Now, the fight I was very concerned with. Mr. Negative seemed like the great play here just because this Rintrah was low sig 20, so it's only about 1 to 2% power gain every time a buff is prevented with Neutralize. However, if he was max sig, I don't know that this would be that great of an idea, solely because Mr. Negative has a buff with his heavy. So I decided to parry hit a couple times, and the reason I'm hitting is because this node does have prowess buildup, and I wanted to keep those as low as possible as I built to a special 3. So my game plan was parry, attack, and then after the 4th parry, evade counter to bank that light. So we're sitting at 8, but from this point on, it was heavy retaliate, everything, special 1s, heavy attacks, and then eventually work my way as I got close to special 3 to getting myself away from the wall if I needed to. And this is kind of where it goes, or it gets sketchy, not goes south, gets sketchy. You can tell since I'm not hitting him, he's building up a ton of prowess. And here I saw an opening to build some light energy before I parry heavied him to knock him down and then get to special 3 off this evade counter. Looking back, probably would have tried to bait out that special 1, but only because when I got to this point, I was like, great, this is most of his health. Let's go. He came out with a special 2, and I just failed at dexing it at the right time. And for those of you who did not see it, here you go in slow-mo. He's got 11 to 12 prowess from the prowess buildup. I don't know what blocking it would have done. Probably would have nearly killed me. But I didn't even give it that chance. So pretty sour one-hit KO. Invulnerability boost would have made it kind of interesting building to special 3. And so die and learn. Move in, go through the exact same rotation that I did from the previous plan, and we take him out because it's only 8% remaining. So really salty about that. Pretty annoying. Move on. Wong here ended up being a little more interesting. I would not take this with Mr. Negative in the future. I'm aware of the blue spell and the fact that he goes unstoppable when you trigger a buff during the blue spell. What I did not factor into that is if I try to throw special 2, the knockdown from the Fury that you gain from this node will trigger. And I'm very lucky that that unstoppable does not prevent the degen placement. So I built up light energy here. It actually doesn't take as many heavies because we get a bonus Fury from the node. So it's really easy to get close to 20 here. I get to 20. Saw the unstoppable, didn't throw the special 2. He is in blue spell here. I did not avoid triggering dexterity on that special 1. That hurt me. And then there off the wall, I decided to throw special 2, and there's that unstoppable from the Fury I gained from the node. And like I said, luckily the degen places, and it KO'd him. But yeah, definitely a buff immune. I'm sure they were baiting an S99 there for this fight here so that we would risk throwing in S99 with the anti-venom synergy and Wither falling and then us having to scramble to get it back. So here I actually put Resonate on for the Wong fight, and it was for Claire for this fight. We have Odin pre-fights on for this. I'm really just going to switch to Hellfire, which is Incinerate, and drop special 2s. The Resonate is there so that we can trigger Aarkus's Tenacity reliably before throwing a special 2. And you can see here that it's working in our favor with that timer running there. So I'm just making sure before I throw a special 2 that that timer is at least active before I throw it. So there's the timer. But yeah, this is max MD, so it wasn't an issue. There aren't enough buffs here to make that a concern. And this was a rank 4 max sig Aarkus, so he had a 100% chance to shrug. So pretty straightforward, only a little damage from the shock. Down he goes, nice and easy. that was the end of my war. So like I said, a short war. We ended up losing to their battle group 2-10, and we actually lost this war 3-18. So pretty bad war for us, but really good war for DSVG. It was going to be pretty uncharacteristic of a war for us to actually beat them, with them only dying 3 times. But unfortunate that my 1 death is from 1 hit, but it was a high-risk node with that prowess, so it is what it is. Just got to shake it off, finish out the season. We've got 1 more week. Hopefully we can finish in Masters. That'll really come down to matchmaking. But, you know, I've been enjoying myself. But I hope you guys enjoyed the war video. Hit subscribe, give it a like, and I will catch you guys at the next war.